Hello students, my name is Dr. Alice Mani. I will be imparting lessons on Business Law, course 306. I am the resource person for Mahatma Gandhi National Council of Rural Education. This is part of the BBA Rural Management course. This unit, that is Chapter 4, is titled Consumer Protection Act 2019. And this will be covered in 4 modules. The first module will look at the basic features of the Consumer Protection Act 2019 and the rights of consumers. The second module will cover Consumer Protection Council Rules 2020 and the mediation proceedings. The third module will cover the procedure for consumer complaints. The fourth module will cover Central Consumer Protection Authority. We will cover the first module of the 4th unit, which is Basic Features of Consumer Protection Act 2019 and the Rights of Consumers in this video lesson. So, let us go ahead and understand the topic in details. I have structured this lesson in the following way. This lesson will cover 2 broad topics. The first will be an introduction to the Consumer Protection Act 2019. Second is the rights of consumers. The first module objective is to understand the basic features of the new Consumer Protection Act 2019. Second objective is to equip you with the rights of consumers. This will help you to avoid mistakes while entering into contracts in our official or personal capacity. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to understand the basic features of the new Consumer Protection Act 2019, the need for the new bill, the features of new bill, and the rights of consumers. Thus, you will get information about the legal procedures and rights of a consumer. This will be helpful for those who will become entrepreneurs in future or to understand the basic legal implications as consumers. This will equip us with the basic knowledge to be more alert and responsible in protecting our legal rights as consumers, seller, manufacturer, distributor, wholesaler, retailer, or as a buyer. Moreover, the knowledge about the rights of a consumer will guide us in entering the right transactions and not to get cheated either in the online or offline mode of purchase. So let us understand this topic in details. The Parliament of India has replaced the 3-decade-old Consumer Protection Act 1986 and replaced it with the new Consumer Protection Act 2019 with effect from 20th of July 2020. Now we have to look into the reasons for the need for a new Consumer Protection Act in the year 2019. The Consumer Protection Act 2019 was enacted with an aim to safeguard the interests of the consumers in India against unlawful business activities and unfair trade practices and to provide speedy resolution to the consumer disputes within the territory of India. This dynamic act recognizes the rights of every consumer in our country and aims at protecting and securing the same by enacting penalties and regulations to control the vast spreading web of unlawful business affairs in India. If we look at the reasons for amendment of this act, the first reason is the growing digital market. We order everything online these days. Especially digital markets have expanded after the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. The lockdown imposed by central and state governments forced people to depend on digital markets. Even for basic necessities like grocery, food, medicine, etc. there are chances that consumers may get cheated if the correct regulations are not there for consumers and sellers. The second reason is the rapid growth of e-commerce in India. The main reason is the internet access. It has intensified the use of mobile phones, computers and laptops, leading to a high change in the growth of digital channels, both in strength and volume. Be it social media or surfing for information on Google or making purchases, India has transformed this medium into a full-fledged market. Moreover, this market has flourished into creating digital marketing as a prime source of bringing business through internet. Digital marketing is growing at a rate of 25 to 30% in India annually. If statistics are to be believed, India has reached 800 million users of the internet by the end of 2020. India also has the world's largest Facebook population. The high-speed digitalization, online portals, social media channels, etc. led to a growth of digital marketing at a trend beyond imagination. The third reason is the new opportunities available to consumers with e-portals. Door-to-door advertisements, word-by-mouth publicity, radio announcements, TV commercials. India always relied on traditional methods of marketing until the internet happened. The tools of marketing changed from business to gadgets. It became easier to penetrate through a large segment of the audience in minimal efforts. As the number of laptop and mobile phone users keeps expanding, digital marketing also spreads its wings wide and far. There are many advantages that e-commerce presents for businesses. As consumers find products they need from the convenience of their homes or using their mobile devices, it offers faster buying and selling of products. Additionally, brands have a greater reach to consumers, since there are no geographical limitations, and it provides startups a low-cost investment option, eliminating the need for physical retail locations. Although the more popular sectors for e-commerce include consumer electronics, books, e-tickets and apparel, other segments are quickly catching up. The customers are also cheated by unethical trade practices of e-commerce portals and with misleading advertisements. Thus, Government of India has decided to amend Consumer Protection Act after 33 years. Now, let us look at the objectives of the new Consumer Protection Act bill. The first objective is to provide easy consumer redressal system. The second objective is to provide speedy consumer redressal system. The third and last objective is to settle the pending cases. We know that legal system in India will take years to settle some issues. The cases filed by consumers with consumer courts were not settled to a large extent. As we see the improvements made in the new act, we can see that how these objectives are achieved with amendments in the old act. Now, let us look at the new features of the Consumer Protection Act 2019. I hope you know some of these points already, because this topic is related to our day-to-day lives. Therefore, you are also excited to learn about this. I know that. So, let us list the new features of this act one by one for your easy understanding. First one, it defines a consumer as a person who buys any goods or avails a service for a consideration. Second, It does not include a person who obtains a good for resale or a good or service for commercial purpose. Third, it covers transactions through all models through all modes including offline and online or through electronic means, teleshopping, multi-level marketing or direct selling. Fourth, as per the Act, the central government will set up a Central Consumer Protection Authority. It's called as CCPA, with an investigating wing to promote, protect and enforce the rights of consumers. The Central Consumer Protection Authority may impose a penalty on a manufacturer or an endorser of up to rupees 10 lakh and imprisonment for up to 2 years for a false or misleading advertisement. In case of a subsequent offence, if the fine may extend to rupees 50 lakh and the imprisonment of up to 5 years. Fifth point is consumer rights are defined to include rights to be protected against marketing of goods and services which are hazardous to life and property. Also, customer need to be informed about the quality, quantity, potency, purity, standard and price of goods or services. Moreover, customer need to be assured of the access to a variety of goods or services at competitive prices. Also, customers can seek redressal against unfair or restrictive trade practices. The sixth point is Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission or CDRC. The District Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission or CDRC will entertain complaints where value of goods and services does not exceed rupees 1 crore. The State Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission will entertain complaints when the value is more than rupees 1 crore but does not exceed rupees 10 crore. Complaints with value of goods and services over rupees 10 crore will be entertained by the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission. Eighth point is a consumer can conduct their own case via video conferencing and engaging a lawyer is optional. Ninth point is a concept of product liability has been introduced by the new law which allows aggrieved consumers to claim significant compensation as a relief due to the negligence of the manufacturer or service provider. 10th point is certain provisions regarding misleading advertisements, celebrity endorsements of products, the constitution of the Apex Central Protection Authority, e-commerce, etc. are also included as added attractions of this Act. These points will be covered in detail later in this video lesson. Now, let us look at the rights of consumers. There are 11 rights available to the consumers as per the Consumer Protection Act 2019. First right is right to safety. This right is mainly applicable in the case of healthcare, pharmaceuticals and food processing units. This right is also applicable in sectors which have an indirect impact on health, including housing, travel, automobiles, and domestic appliances. The second right is the right to information. Right to information means the right to be given the facts needed to make an informed choice or decision about the factors like quality, quantity, potency, purity, standards, and price of product or service. The right to information now goes beyond avoiding deception and protection against misleading advertising, improper labeling and other practices. For example, when you buy a product or utilize a service, you should be informed about how to consume that product, the adverse health effect of its consumption, whether the ingredients used are environment friendly or not, etc. Due to the ever increasing influence of the market and the ever changing scene with price wars, and hard sell techniques, the consumer's right to information becomes even more important. The third right is about right to choose. According to this right, every consumer has the right to choose the goods or services of his or her likings. The right to choose means an assurance of availability, ability, and access to a variety of products and services at competitive price, and competitive price means the fair price. The producer or supplier or retailer should not force the consumer to buy a particular brand only. Consumer should be free to choose the most suitable product from his or her point of view. The fourth right is the right to be heard. The right to be heard means that consumers should be allowed to voice their opinions and grievances at appropriate forum. For example, if you have been cheated in the marketplace or deprived of the right quality of service, your complaint should be heard and given due attention by the authorities. Consumers should also have a right to voice their opinion when rules and regulations pertaining to them are being formulated, like the recent amendments in the Consumer Protection Act 2019. The right to be heard holds a special significance in the Indian context because Indian consumers are largely unaware of their rights and passively accept their violation. The fifth right is the right to redressal. According to this right, the consumer has the right to get compensation or seek redressal against unfair trade practices or any other exploitation. This right assures justice to consumer against exploitation. The right to redressal includes compensation in the form of money or replacement of goods or repair of defect in the goods as per the satisfaction of consumer. Various redressal forms are set up by the government at national level and state level. The sixth right is the right of consumer education. Consumer education empowers consumers to exercise their consumer rights. It is perhaps the single most powerful tool that can take consumers from their present disadvantageous position to one of the strength at the marketplace. Consumer education is dynamic, participatory, and is mostly acquired by hands-on and practical experience. For instance, a woman who makes purchase decisions for the household and does the actual buying in the marketplace would be more educated about market conditions than a person who educates himself about the market with the help of newspapers or television. The seventh right is the right to file complaint from anywhere. Basically, when a consumer feels exploited, he has the right to approach a consumer court to voice his complaint. This right gives him or her due respect that the complaint will be duly heard. This right empowers consumers to fearlessly voice their concerns and seek justice in case they are exploited. The eighth right is to seek compensation under product liability. Right to seek compensation under product liability in case any loss is caused to a consumer due to a defective product. The consumer can file a complaint against the manufacturer or the service provider and ask for compensation. The manufacturer or seller would be held liable if the product does not conform to express the warranty. The ninth right is to protect the rights of consumers as a class or a group. This right gives the consumers the right to fight for their rights as a group. It is not necessary to file individual cases in such situations. For example, a builder cheated 500 applicants who paid for their flats. Instead of filing individual cases by 500 applicants, they can file a joint complaint against the builder for cheating and going back on his promise as a group. This is also possible in case of private banks or chit funds or private money lenders. The 10th right of consumer is the right to seek a hearing using video conferencing. Now the world is changing to a digital world. Cashless transactions, online purchases, etc. are the norms of today's business. In this situation, consumers got the privilege to seek permission for video conferencing if they are not able to attend the consumer courts or consumer commissions in person. This is an important privilege, and this will encourage more and more people to fight for their rights. The last right is the right to know why a complaint was rejected. It is important to note that no commission has the right to reject a complaint without hearing. The commission has to decide about whether they are accepting or rejecting a case within 21 days. Moreover, if the commission has not informed the consumer who filed the complaint within 21 days, then it can be assumed that it is accepted by the commission. Thus, we can see that the rights of consumers are much more powerful after the amendment of the Consumer Protection Act in 2019. I wish and assume that this lesson will encourage you to fight for your rights against companies, manufacturers, wholesale dealers, or e-commerce portals in future. Our learning wouldn't be complete if we don't assess what we have learned. So here I am giving one activity for you. Name a few products that were rightfully taken down by consumer rights with the help of the Consumer Protection Act 2019. Now that we have reached the end of this video lesson, I hope that you have learned the basic features of Consumer Protection Act 2019 and the 11 rights of a consumer. I hope that you got a good insight on the topics we discussed in this video lesson. To conclude this video lesson, Consumer Protection Act 2019, we covered the first module, that is the basic features about Consumer Protection Act 2019 and the 11 rights of consumers. In the next video lesson, we will learn the second video lesson of this unit, that is Consumer Protection Council Rules 2020 and the meditation proceedings. Until we meet again. Bye. Thank you.